I was almost a fanatical Trekkie myself back in the early 60s when I watched the television show, the original television show, which I thought was wonderful. You could tell then how good Bill was, even though he was restricted in that series and had become famous because of it.
Chris and I go way back to Montreal, and I was a student in university there.
It was a very happy time.
He was a professional actor some years before I was, but we were basically the same age.
We're almost the same age. I'm a little older. I have the edge on Bill.
We came up the same way, through the amateur theaters in Montreal, professional radio.
Radio actors at a very tender age of 16, 17, and 18, I think it was respectively.
Almost always acting in concert with Chris, who would play the leading roles in many of the radio dramas, and I not.
It was a unique time in radio because, of course, we played and acted in both languages, French and English, because both of us grew up bilingually in that city. So it was interesting being a French and English actor at the same time. Bill then showed enormous power as a sort of star personality. Even then, he was playing the star long before he knew he was ever going to become one.
Then on to Ottawa, to a professional theater in Ottawa, where again, he had come a year or two before me, and I was there as a leading actor. Now, while I was in Ottawa, Chris was opening the first season in Stratford, Ontario, to the classical theater. And I had been asked to come and play in some small part, and I thought, why would I want to do that when I could play in summer theater in larger roles? The following year, after the success that Chris and the Stratford Company had, the second year of Stratford, Ontario, I came to play a lesser role and an understudy role to Chris Plummer.
And he understudied me as Henry V. It was rather a celebrated production. It went to the Edinburgh Festival. And I wasn't going to let Bill play it over my dead body.
And one day, Chris got ill.
I had a kidney stone, which had to be removed. I couldn't turn up.
And they came to me to play Henry V, Chris's role. And I'd had no rehearsal whatsoever. We were still opening plays. We opened 3 plays, and we'd opened Henry V. Then we were in the process of opening another play, and then a couple of weeks later, we were opening another play, and then the understudies would have their rehearsals. So there was no understudy rehearsals. I had hardly known any of the cast because I was busy learning my lines and playing the role I had in Henry V, when suddenly they came to me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and said, Chris is ill. Can you go on as Henry V? By some strange stroke of fate, I had been learning the lines. So I kind of knew the lines. It's an enormous part. And I can't imagine why I said yes.
Jealous as hell, I lay in my hospital bed hoping that he would fail miserably in the part. And
I got into the wardrobe, and we're pretty much the same size. And so his wardrobe fitted me. And so 8:30 that evening, I went on, not knowing anything, and was carried on the wave of the muse, and I was very successful that one night.
And the next day, they all came around saying, "My God, Bill was so wonderful." I said, "Why was he so wonderful?" He said, "Well, he did everything differently from you. When you stood up, he sat down." And anyway, then we knew that Bill was going to be a star and an original.
Second night, back came Chris, roaring back, who gave the performance of his life.
Thousands of years later, I get a call saying, "Would you come out and join your old friends and be in Star Trek VI?"
So it was, for the first time after all these years, we were together, throwing the ball back and forth. And it was wonderful. Not only that, backstage or behind the cameras, we had a chance to talk, which we hadn't had much of a chance to in all those years. So in having Chris Plummer as our guest, if you will, in that movie was a tremendous pleasure for me on many levels.